My name is Damon, the prodigal son returning where?
This is Kevin, the probably should have had some finances in his name, Schneider.
And this is a black and white review.
Nothing mixes better than vanilla and chocolate. And since you're black and I'm white, that makes it more special for the audience. Did you say black? You called him black? He's black. Oh, he said it again. This racism is killing me inside. You're white. You are black. And who cares? Who cares, baby?
Welcome to a black and white review, everyone. This week's episode is 1981's Carbon Copy, directed by Michael Schultz, written by Stanley Shapiro, and it stars George Segal as Walter Whitney, Denzel Washington in his first role ever.
Introducing!
It even has an introducing Denzel Washington, and he plays Roger Porter. Also stars Susan St. James as Vivian Whitney, Jack Warden as Nelson Longhurst, and Dick Martin as Victor Bard. And what this movie is about a man named Walter Whitney, who's a big, he's not a CEO. What I don't know what his job is.
It sounded like he was like a marketing dude because he comes up with slogans and just generic, like he's the idea guy.
Yeah, he's a wealthy guy who's living in San Marino in 1981 and
whitest neighborhood you can think of.
And he's very wealthy. Things are going great for him. And then one day, Denzel Washington knocks at his door and says, "Hey, I'm your son."
But not just any son. I'm your black son.
Yeah. and it's just how him learning this new information and how everyone in his life reacts to it and how his life kind of gets a lot harder when people aren't as tolerant as they should be.
It unravels.
This movie is a lot.
It doesn't get. I was talking about Walter's life. It doesn't just get complicated.
Yeah.
It unravels.
Yeah.
At the fucking seams because all of a sudden Denzel's like, no matter how charismatic I am, I'm still black, and the executives don't like that.
They don't like that one bit.
Not in the slightest. But yeah, no. The first thing, first and foremost, you guys should know, Kevin is the mastermind behind our production, the movies, all of that. I'm dumb as hell when it comes to that stuff. But when he told me about this one, I thought he was making a joke. I was like, what do you mean? It's Denzel Washington's first movie. It's a black son. His life unravels. How the fuck did you find this, Kevin?
So, I didn't have cable as a kid, so, it's one Saturday morning when the cartoons are over and I'm watching UPN 57 and this week's 12 o'clock movie on a Saturday.
Deep cut, UPN 57.
The 12 o'clock movie is Carbon Copy and I see Denzel Washington. And I'm like, well, I know who that is. I know Denzel Washington even though I was a kid, but I'm thinking more I don't know, Inside Man or Training Day. But I'm like, Carbon Copy, okay.
How old were you when you'd seen Training Day? And
I probably hadn't, honestly, I probably hadn't seen Training Day, but I knew what it was.
Oh, good.
I think I had seen Inside Man.
I just know your dad. And I'm like, wait, he was really yeah, Kev, come on, this is my favorite part when Denzel just makes him smoke this wet.
Yeah, and I remember being confused about this movie as a kid, and then rightly so, because when we went back to actually watch it, I was very confused when I watched it again. This movie's very strange.
Layered.
It's a comedy, but I feel like if you tweaked it a little, this could easily just be a serious drama.
If they had dedicated more time to just the dramatic elements of it, then yeah, it has all of the makings of a very serious story of a man that didn't know he has a son. He comes back into his life. All the people he thought were his closest friends and confidants abandon him because of the son returning. This is a drama, but they played it as a satire of I guess just 80s just there's consumer culture being made fun of. There's elements of a lot of class based satire going on in the movie, but there's also slapstick. There's tons of scenes where just goofy shit goes on. Yeah. Where just honestly, it reminds me of it reminded me of Scary Movie a lot. Just some of the jokes are so on the nose, or a lot of the the racial stuff. People might cringe at it, but if you watch Scary Movie now or Scary Movie 2, some of the shit does not age very well. This movie. People may watch this for the first viewing, kind of like what we did, and be offended because of how they say colored several times throughout the movie, and it's very clear that the main big bad of the movie is a bigot. It's just and so if you don't know their jokes, you're like, okay, like what's the movie trying to do?
I think because what the movie is trying to do, at least what I was able to interpret, is that you're supposed to be laughing at these racists. Like,
Yeah.
listen to how backwards ass these people are, but it's so deadpan and serious that you're like, I'm not sure how to feel.
They sell it too well
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, they really do.
And they're expecting you to be like, you know, the audience when that movie was geared towards. And so some of those deadpan moments that they may have been easier to pick up in the culture at the time because you were living in it, you would have been able to experience it. But for us, it's 2020, and it's like, damn, that was jarring. Like, might as well laugh at this now. Like, we had to watch this movie twice to laugh. Like, the first time I didn't laugh. Maybe at the slapsticks if I laughed the first time, but most of it I was on edge for a lot of this movie for the first viewing.
Yeah,
the first viewing.
Second viewing, you grasped more. Also, this movie came out in 1981, so it feels very 70s.
Yes.
I mean, at one point, when
outfits.
Denzel Washington is supposed to be his 17-year-old son, and I remember at one point in the movie he's trying to watch TV, but it's like it's part of the down spiral of Walter losing everything. And so he's staying in a crappy motel, and he has to put coins in the TV. He's like, I'm trying to watch Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah. I remember the coins in the television, but I remember the show. Dude, that dates it like a motherfucker. That makes a lot more sense, though, because it adds to the whole point of, like, why the movie may even be jarring, because it's kind of like a 70s movie that kind of eked its way into it's an 80s movie. It's 1981. Like, the culture is still heavily 70s. The fact that color's being used, that's a huge, like, I don't want to say red flag, but, like, of course, like, treat this movie as a time capsule. Like, if you're watching it, don't be surprised, like, oh, I don't know how I feel about, like, that one thing. Like, it's a comedy from the 70s. So shit's gonna be a little cagey sometimes, but you gotta get past that if you want to enjoy the movie and actually.
Yeah, if you do want to watch it, I would say check it out just out of the morbid curiosity or this. I don't even know.
I wouldn't even say morbid because, like, it would be morbid if it was like fucking Song of the South or whatever. But this movie had, like, you know, a purpose. Denzel's proud of this movie. Like he
like, seemed it. I mean, based on what we saw.
Yeah, from like interviews.
It's his first movie. He should be kind of happy with it.
Yeah, and it's like, and the fact that he was in like I remember you told me that, like, he was worried about someone told him not to get typecast.
His next offer apparently after this was another comedy, and he just didn't think it was very funny, so he turned it down. And then because of that, he was out of work. Apparently, he was out of work for a few months. But then, like, the next big role he got offered was Cry Freedom, which is a drama he made. I forget what it's about, but he got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Damn, I didn't know he got nominated for that. From his second movie, he got nominated for an Oscar?
Not positive. I think he might have been doing Saint Elsewhere at this point.
Regardless, like, the fact that he's like an introductory
It was one of his early roles.
Yeah, early roles, already Oscar nods. Like, the motherfucker was talented. But the fact that he's not, like, trying to bury this movie or, like, because we saw an interview where I forget which...
kind of buried itself.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I found was this apparently, which was funny enough, on, like, it was like because this IMDb, like, little trivia on this thing is so short. But the one thing was that this movie's not syndicated very much because of the racial issues, so a lot of stuff has to get censored to a point where, like, what's the point of showing some of the movie? Which makes me wonder, why did I see this on UPN 57 back when I was a kid then, if this is something that's syndicated very often?
Well, realistically, too, it's like, I don't remember the movie having, like, a lot of swears. Like, it wasn't, like, I know it was rated... Was it rated R?
No, it's PG. It's a PG movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, because ratings are stupid.
I mean, they don't say any outright slurs, do they? I mean, it's very, like, they're saying a lot of bad. I mean, they do say a lot of probably worse things than slurs about black people in this movie. But also, you're supposed to be laughing at those 1% characters. His wife and
that's the wife, like the boss, like the really spoiled, like, stepdaughter that Walter has. Like, they're all just caricatures of people. Like, they're like the archetypes of, like, rich, entitled pieces of shit. Like, that's really what it boils down to.
The movie is more focused on George Siegel, who's Walter, who's the man who finds out that Denzel Washington's his son, and everyone in his community does not like that.
Yeah.
So he basically gets pushed out of society. He loses everything.
Or would you say high
society?
High society.
Yes.
They don't like it when the races mix.
But I think he's pretty good in it. He's not great. I mean, he's basically just kind of looking at the camera like, oh, what am I supposed to do now?
I'm the straight man being befuddled by my situation. Ah! The gods have cursed me.
And Denzel's pretty good in it. It's his first movie, and there's a few scenes where you're just looking at him and you're like, you can totally see how this kid grows up to become Denzel Washington.
Talented.
Yeah.
so
He
talented.
has a very layered, not very layered performance, but it's a layered performance that
The
he's
way
putting in.
I remember before we started recording, you were talking about like he's playing like two characters. Like he's
Yeah.
playing like how did you describe
It's
it?
a little spoilery, so maybe wait
that's
until we
true.
get into the
That is
movie a
true.
little more. So, I mean, is there anything else you want to say without getting too deep into it?
Not really.
Anyone's performances that stood out to you or didn't stand out?
But no, like because you were kind of said like everything. Like, Denzel's fucking Denzel. The main guy does his job. All the side characters are like over the top of shit.
Yeah, they're very racist. They're very also just rich and
bougie motherfuckers,
snooty.
man. Yeah.
And like I said, I think because they play it so deadpan and they play it so very well and straight that you're not sure if you should be laughing. But when we watch it the second time, it's hilarious.
Hysterical.
Like, oh, I see it now.
I get it.
But the first time, there's so much racism being thrown at you so seriously and deadpan.
And there's so many, and there's so many different messages they're trying to get across, like in the movie. So sometimes they get muddled. They're all trying to say the same thing. But when you're trying to make like a funny comedy movie, I don't know why they try to focus on getting all of like the satire in like one joke. Like it'd be like one joke would be like, oh, that had class, like race, like income inequality, like all
gender.
of it is like Jesus. Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on the
Sex
the
jokes.
sexist parts of this movie that are going to be very hard for some people to get past, like as well. Like it's
just the idea of like some of the jokes,
comedy.
The first
it ages so poorly sometimes.
So I think I understand. Do you want to get into like the nitty gritty of what
yeah,
happens in this movie?
Yeah.
All right, so
Let's
the movie,
look it up.
All right, so let's go to breakdown. Also, before we do break it down, like kind of what we typically do, like most of the movie, we want to let you know that this is it's a strange movie, carbon copy. Most of you probably have not heard of this one. You know Denzel Washington for being Denzel Washington. George Segal, he's not really a big name. Most people know people would probably know him as he's the grandpop on The Goldbergs, which I don't watch, but I mostly know him for he was on Just Shoot Me, which was a sitcom in the 90s with like David Spade.
Did not watch that. I was aware of it.
Forget who else was on it. But he's like the main guy who runs the business. And also he's in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. That's like his big meaty role. He's nominated for an Oscar for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
I love that movie. It's so dark. It's like the best type of dark. He's like 60s black and white.
He's the younger couple. him and his wife in that movie.
Oh god, watch that movie, guys.
Yeah.
If you want to be uncomfortable, like fuck Carbon Copy. That's an uncomfortable ass movie.
All right, so the movie opens up with which something else we brought up, how it's very 70s music. It feels very 70s. I feel like I just turned on an episode of
fanfare, bro.
Yeah, and also this theme song is definitely what if anyone watches Family Guy,
which you should.
If you're aware of the one bit where Peter's like, I imagine my life as an 80s or 70s sitcom, and it's My Black Son, kind of this plot of this movie.
Yeah, because even like the sing song elements in that, it kind of talks about like don't remember a lot, and that comes up with Walter's character in I almost called Carbon Copy My Black Son. And also the theme that runs throughout the movie, that's like if you listen to My Black Son from that Family Guy clip, that's the fucking song.
The theme of this movie is very similar to it, but it's Bill Conti's I Wanna Get Closer. I want to get closer, or I gotta get closer.
Closer.
I'm gonna get closer.
Closer. It's catchy as hell, but I feel like it shouldn't be. I think you made the point where like if it's talking about like a father and son getting closer, like it doesn't really fit because it's like a very
the way it sounds more like
porno vibey.
Hey girl, I like you. Let's get closer together. Let's dance.
Yeah.
Rollerblade or whatever because it's the 70s.
Disco shit.
It's the 80s, but it's the 70s.
Yeah, no, Denzel. When I saw Denzel's collar when he first comes on the screen, like all his clothes. When he says like square, like he's like all this shit is like this is 70s as
a lot of 70s dialogue.
Hell yeah,
which makes sense. This would have been written in the 70s.
Oh yeah. Makes perfect sense.
So it opens up with the movie telling you we're in San Marino. Also, I don't know what I'm guessing San Marino is just the richest.
I didn't even look.
I had no idea.
It seemed fake, but also some of these towns like
no, it's a real place. I just don't know like what the community's known for.
I didn't even know it was real. No, I'm just saying I thought it was fake. I'm admitting my ignorance. I did not know it was a real place.
I just assumed it was like Bel Air because this movie also has kind of little elements of Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
So, like there's like scene like Denzel just kind of like
But when Denzel's pulling up to the house, I literally just heard the thong. These are I pulled up to a house around 7 and Denzel's just like yeah.
It's like Tim, my white dad didn't know I existed, and they're like we can't find a rhyme that makes that not sad.
So the movie opens. We're introduced to Walter and his wife Vivian, and they're in bed together. And Walter's just come on, babe, let's have sex. I love you, and she's like.
No, Walter, just jog. Like that's one of her things where it's like, so because Walter's like trying to fuck his wife in early morning, and she's adamantly saying no, do not force yourself on me. And Walter's pressing the issue pretty hard.
Really hard.
And this is like what we were just talking about maybe 2-3 minutes ago about this may be one of the bigger issues
We're
in the
3
movie.
minutes in the movie, and
there's
we're
like a
opening
potential
with
rape.
It's a rape joke.
Yeah, like a spousal rape.
Yeah, it even
Darker.
says like it even says in the Bible like a wife must lay with her husband or like cannot rape his wife or something, and then it's like that's not in the Bible. It's like, well, they cut it out when some
lesbian translator like redid the version. Like it's just the movie it's been a minute and just like blam dated.
This is the hero of our story. Okay,
we're supposed to empathize with him at some point. All right, Walt. And then he keeps pressing the issue. The only reason why, and he gets on top of her, and the only reason why it doesn't become like a rape scene is because the new maid walks in, and it's, she interrupts, she gets off, and you were introduced to...
Oh, she gets off.
No one gets off in this movie. Until later. Talk about it later. But you're introduced to Vivian's character being a piece of shit because Walter's
even though he's trying to rape her, you can just tell by the dialogue, like, this is clearly an issue that's been a part of their marriage for a while.
For a very long time. And he's like, they're in their probably, he's in his 40s, she's probably in her late 30s, and they're basically a sexless marriage.
Yeah.
And like the jokes are just dated. Like it's just a dated
because back in the
satire.
70s, it's always the wives like, I don't want to have sex.
Yeah, and then the husband are like, I'm sex crazy. This is why he even makes a joke. He's like, this is why we jog and vote for the death penalty, because like we're just a bunch of we're like a bunch of men in sexless marriages. Like, Jesus, Walter, like don't put the death penalty on like you not getting pussy. Like that's a lot to do.
Yeah. So then Walter what was the class thing with the
with the maid?
The maid.
The maid comes. The maid comes in and interrupts them fucking or almost fucking, and Walter's like, wait, who the hell is that? Like, what happened to our old maid? What was the old maid's name?
I think Estelle was
Estelle
the old
or
maid.
some shit. The new chick is Bianca, and then Vivian is like, well, of course I had to fire Estelle. She didn't know her place. Like, Bianca's from Central America. Like, all the girls are getting them now because they don't feel resentment toward being. Wait, they don't resent being treated as servants. That's like
what she says.
Yeah. Like, so that's why when we first saw the movie, you're like, is this supposed to be the joke? Like, god damn, like, and because it's so kind of eerily true where people will outsource like their labor differently depending on how people get fired from those jobs for the most arbitrary bullshit reasons. Like it shows that Vivian's a piece of shit. Like that's the reason why it's in the scene. So you're not supposed to feel bad about the potential rape that just happened. Like I don't.
It really sets up her character for the bigotry you're about to see her do later, which is even worse.
This is you're actually very right. This is icing on the cake. It kind of is because she's like trying to treat it. She's talking about like
so I think she says it while she's in the room.
Yes,
too.
because like she's assuming she doesn't speak English. Like it's just
she even says like Buenos Dias.
Yes.
No, not Estelle. Whatever
Bianca,
the new one's name.
Yeah, Bianca. Whatever the new one's name. You're just bad as Vivian. Check your goddamn privilege.
It's been 5 minutes of the movie. I'm still figuring out who I'm rooting for.
We're so raw. We've hit with so much already in minute fucking 5. And so they go downstairs.
And then he pretty much, and then his stepdaughter walks in.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she
interrupts
treats
sex
him
again.
She treats him like crap too. So she's mean to Walter and doesn't respect him.
I want to go shopping. I'm spoiled. Blah, blah, blah.
And the mom just enables her negative behavior.
Oh, yeah, because she's like...
Toughest job ever, being a step-parent.
It's such a thankless job. So thankless. Because, like, it's... Because being a parent already fucking blows. But then this kid knows you're not the real mom or dad. Like, bro. Like, the amount of, like... You can't try to make one mistake as a step parent.
And she's a stuffy rich kid, too.
Oh, big old bitch.
This kid's the worst. In, like, the 3 scenes she's in.
Yeah, they really hammer in, like, piece of shit.
Yeah, I think it's just the 2... Yeah, she's only in 2 scenes. It's this scene and the dinner table scene that happens later. And she's awful at that scene, too. She's probably worse in that scene.
She is worse because she has some fucked up questions in that scene.
Yeah. So then we jump ahead to Walter's now in his office. He's very rich and wealthy, where his boss is Nelson. And Nelson also happens to be his father-in-law.
Who's the boss of the father-in-law, super awkward, and the scene is opening up with Nelson being like, so, my daughter tells me you tried to rape her, Walter. What's that about? It's like, all right, Nelson.
I did not try to rape my wife.
I did not. Please believe me. I didn't do it. And then, also, it's Monday. I'm trying to have a meeting. I don't want to talk about your daughter right now.
Yeah, and Nelson, Jack Warden, I want to find more movies he's in because he plays this so straight and so he's such a
It tricked me.
He's such a subtle and eloquent monster. It's kind of commendable.
Yeah, he sells.
It's a good performance.
He sells the fact that he believes that he is a better race than another person, but it's not like cartoonish.
It's even beyond that, too.
It's cartoonish. It's
much.
not cartoonish. It's so believable that there's someone that exists like this in the upper echelons of power that can justify all the excesses of their life with, and also validate the inequality that they see. Like, it just, to your point, he plays a very good character, but because he plays it so well, I didn't know this was a comedy at first.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a comedy. So kudos to him, but also the director had been like, can you not be as serious when you're being a bigot?
But I think that's just more how the satire is just aging poorly.
Yeah, you're right, because maybe that was the whole point.
Our woke generation, Damon, we can't quite comprehend this movie.
Yeah, and even I'm not.
It's trickier.
I'm not even that fucking woke, and it's even I was kind of taken aback the first viewing. So someone might
like maybe an older listener, if they watch this movie, maybe they'll find it hilarious right away, where a younger person will just be more offended.
I was looking at the YouTube comments, which you should never do unless you value your sanity. Don't fucking do that. But I was looking at the YouTube comments of the Carbon Copy because there weren't really that many. It was only like maybe 15 or 20, and a lot of them were like they liked the movie. Like they were like, "Oh, wow, it was a classic." And I was trying to look at the profiles. There were black and white people that were having memories that weren't like, "Oh, I can't believe this got made." Those weren't the comments. They were always like, "Oh, wow, I love how this movie's so easily accessible now." So, I think I think this movie should be watched because it is like it's complicated, but in all the good ways.
And I forget already if I said it already, but this movie is on YouTube. That's how we found it.
Yes, it is.
Now that we say that, and we'll probably link it when we post this episode, so that if you want to click on it and watch it, you can. But I mean, I don't know if it's going to be taken down because I'm sure the movie's not there. But if you have, I think it's if you have Showtime or Stars, it's on there. Because I remember seeing it was on Hulu, but I went to Hulu. It's like only with the Stars add-on. It's like, dang.
No, that's how they always get you. I'm already paying my money.
Right now, that's where you can find it. Because it's not a movie you can find easily.
No. But to your point, we don't know what's going to take it down. And normally, if the movie's easily accessible, we'll try to like not go beat for beat. But this movie, it's so much happens, and you may not want to watch like this. You may not have an hour and a half to kill, so we'll share. You just share in our confusion with us, and you can take what you will from it.
Yeah. So shortly after being scolded by his father-in-law / boss for how he should or shouldn't treat his wife, basically telling him like, your wife shouldn't be giving you sex because any good.
I've never met an executive that was like I've never met an executive worth a damn that was like happy. Like that was basically the gist of the conversation. Like be sexless. And he even says like he kind of raised her to be sexless to be an executive's wife in that scene. Like it's hammering home piece of shit.
Nelson needs to be in control of everything.
Every facet of his life.
That's pretty much his character, and he's so powerful and rich and vile. He's actually can do it.
Yeah, and without really any consequence to it,
and with little effort.
Yeah, no,
because he's groomed everyone in his life so easily that he's so convincing, and like he can convince you to eventually leave people that you care about.
And really, you kind of see that through the whole movie with the amount of control. You brought up a really good point. Control.
He's always calm.
The amount of control he has in all the scenes because he knows it. Like, oh, I don't need to do anything. Like this is my bubble. This is my cult. This is my little bubble. Like I don't need to do dick.
I don't think you even see him raise his voice until like the very end of the movie.
When he realizes that he's lost.
He can't control everything.
Yeah, that was the only time. Yeah, great. He plays his character. He plays his character too well for this satire.
If this movie if for some reason someone to remake this now, I don't think it would be a comedy. It would be a drama.
Oh no, it would have to be a drama because everything's there. Everything is there, Kevin.
Yeah. So shortly after that, Walter's leaving the office. Or leaving his boss's office where his secretary is like, "Excuse me, sir, there's a Roger Porter here for you." He's like, "I don't know a Roger Porter. Tell him to go away." He's like, "He says he's the son of Lorraine Porter." And he's like, oh, "Lorraine?" And the music like changes. Everything becomes a little nice. He's like, "Lorraine Porter."
Yeah, like, those were the days, carefree.
A simpler time. And then he's like, "Lorraine Porter's son? Send him up. I'd be happy to meet him." And then he walks in.
Roger Porter.
And he walks in, and it's a very young Denzel Washington with a red shirt on with an Africa, and has like a little heart on the heart of Africa, and he's got his collar popped, he's got the shades.
Nice like leather-ish looking jacket on, like jeans, like just prime. Denzel's youth, like he's so youthful. It's funny that he's like 27, but he's like, I'm 17.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's when he's like, I'm her 17-year-old son, and it's just like, Denzel? What? And I had to look it up. Yeah, he's like 27, 26, I think
like,
it is.
I know black don't crack, but chill. Like, don't insult my intelligence. But yeah, no, he says in his introduction, it's like, yeah, cool, nothing ratty-tatty about this place. And that's the way it should be, up here where the hog is fat. No meat scraps, we're talking T-bone steak here, huh? And then he dings a bell. He's like, man, you're it, huh? The big ace in the card deck. I'm sure glad our zodiac signs cross. It's like my horoscope said. Capricorn, baby, consolidate your financial future today. Here I was thinking I was just another poor black orphan boy going to freeze in the cold white world. And then that's how Walter knows Lorraine's dead, because he didn't know this whole time. He says orphan in that one little bit of dialogue. And just that one little bit alone, like, that introduces Roger beginning to kind of play Walter. Like, he's beginning to, like, he wants to see how he's going to react to him just, kind of shucking and jiving a little bit.
Yeah,
like, honestly.
He is behaving kind of stereotypical, and, I mean, I don't feel bad for spoiling it. You find out later that he's not acting how he traditionally acts. He's acting a little more stereotypical just to see how it's, spoiler, hi, Daddy.
Yeah.
How his white rich father would react to him.
Being a black kid, like just like a normal what his father might consider stereotypically a normal black kid, like whatever the fuck that means. Like Denzel's acting like that to him, and they have this dialogue back and forth, and like Walter gets pretty antagonistic pretty fast.
Well, I mean,
he's jumping. Oh, of course,
because he gets like before he even finds out he's his son. He like walks in and like he's acting pretty rude to Walter. And Walter's
very
like,
comfortable.
Yeah,
in the office.
Way too casual. And he's just like, the only reason I let you up here is because I have very fond memories of Lorraine. She was a very sweet, kind woman, and like I assumed her son would reflect that. But the way you're acting, I don't like. He even says, "I don't like you. I don't like you, Mr. Porter." And he sits down at his desk and puts his feet up, and it's like, "I've tolerated this enough. Get out." And then that's when it's like, "I'm your son," and then he can't believe it. And we jump ahead to him meeting with his lawyer, and then when he tells his lawyer kind of everything about Lorraine and how this all came to be. And his lawyer also smokes weed, but it's really awkward weed. Like,
yeah, like it's just like it just shows it's like comedy. It's like look at me, like I'm just like a bug eye. I'm just like he's constantly just puffing it. Like it's so silly.
It's like a little weird joint.
yeah. It's so cute. It's like and this is kind of like the one scene that made me, even when I first watched it, when I was still in the confused like, what the hell am I watching phase of me watching this project. It was when Walter says to his lawyer, like, I don't see a problem. I don't have a problem. Like, I'm Jewish, because you also find out in this scene that Walter, his last name isn't really Whitley.
You find out
Whitney.
So you find out that Nelson has controlled him too, the way he's controlled his daughter. He's basically tells him, it's like, oh, like, so who, because the lawyer's asking him, like, where did this kid come from? Who is Lorraine Porter? He's like, well, Lorraine Porter is someone I went to college with. We hit it off. Like, I loved her. I truly cared about her. I don't remember anything,
but we just laughed.
We laughed a lot.
Great time.
And the worst part is, like, I'm having trouble even remembering what she looked like. It's been so long. It's been 17 years at least, almost 18 years probably.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't remember her face. I just remember we laughed a lot. And then next thing I know, I make it big at this company. And then, like, when I'm going to go and I'm pretty close to at the point where I'm probably going to marry this woman, my boss finds out about it. Nelson finds out. And he recants the story of Nelson when he found out about about Lorraine.
Yeah, Lorraine.
What's her name?
Yeah,
Lorraine.
Don't forget, like Walter forgot.
And it's just this very layered talk Nelson has.
Oh, the
and
flashback.
Just show the flashback
flashback
of, like, you can't be with this woman, and here's why. And I don't know. Did you write it down?
Well, because there were moments when the flashback is intercut with Walter, like, adding like adjectives or adverbs to the dialogue. So like Nelson would say something like, I'm worried about your future. A veiled threat.
A veiled threat about his job, about his job.
Yeah, and then he would say, like, the right people wouldn't appreciate the relationship you had with Lorraine. It's like, oh, I'm not a bigot, I'm a realist. And Walter would say, like, and since then I've never been able to tell the difference between the two. Like, just so like the moments.
He says, like, I'm a bigot, and it's like, so he believes.
That's
And then
I'm not digging up a realist.
he's like now that your parents are gone, now that your parents are no longer here, he's like he used my dead parents as like a means to guilt me.
Oh yeah, he said he slipped on my wet parents' ghost like an overcoat. I remember that line.
And he's like you can't be with this woman. It's not the appropriate time. We'd hate to lose you. It's like a direct threat.
Yes.
It's like you can't be with someone like this. It's just not fashionable.
It was probably one of the few times I've seen a flashback be used like so. Like,
and the narrative is
such an effective use of a flashback. I've never seen it done like that ever before. I'm thinking about all the flashback sequences that I've seen, all the media that I fucking consume, and nothing.
The way they break it down.
Oh my god, it was
a good scene.
so effective, and that's why like the movie just keeps like not knowing how to be just pure satire or pure drama, because that was a very dramatic flashback, because it's basically talking about how this man convinced him to abandon this woman that he cared about.
And he loved very much.
And he even talked about them potentially being a child in that flashback scene.
It's like, you wouldn't want that.
Yeah, like it's just heart-wrenching.
The world wouldn't accept that. And also also at this point in time, which I think again adds more a better understanding of what the movie is that when this conversation would have been happening, it would have been 1964, 1963.
Yes, very good point.
So as despicable as it is, it's very easy to see why this wealthy white businessman
casual conversation
would feel this way regarding minorities.
Yeah, realistically, and also too, it's like not even just like you said, the level of businessman, like he's in the upper echelons of like that high society elitist bullshit.
At one point in the movie, later on, when they're talking about minorities, it's like us. We're the minorities, and it's like, wow, 1%. Before I heard that, before 1%.
Oh yeah, I remember that part. Like later on, he's like,
yeah.
We're the fucking tiny wheels that keep everything else moving.
Yeah, we're the tiny wheel on top that keeps all the other wheels turning.
Suck a dick.
his logic is so like he's so intelligent that his. He's so intelligent that his bigotry and his despicable sickness, it's almost eloquent.
Yeah, like he finds a way to make it.
Good villain.
Yeah, no, he finds a way to make like these very terrible points like digestible and like almost but so believable and tangible. Then that's like the true like vicious racism. It's the ones where it's like it's so just normalized. They're like, well, of course this is the way it is. That's all Nelson's character is in the movie, is like, well, of course. Like, why would you even
You're so
question?
bigoted that you can't even see yourself as bigoted. You just see yourself as like, I just know how the world works.
I'm the normal one. That's Nelson's character. Your guys are the weird one. I'm the normal one, being like, a monster. But
I know the game is played.
Yeah, but so when the flashback is over, like you find out that like okay, like
so I wrote a letter to Lorraine, broke it off, and she never answered me.
Yeah,
and then we again jump back to Roger and Walter together, and it's like he basically has all the letters he ever wrote.
Oh wait, before that, the one point I wanted to make was the because that was a very serious scene with like the flashback, like very 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 good scene. But the thing that kind of when I watched it the first time around that gave me hope that this was a satire was when Walter's talking to his lawyer and he's like, and the lawyer's like, wait, it's not that bad. Like, not that bad. Like, I'm Jewish, my son's black, and my lawyer smokes pot. That was the anchor. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I should be laughing at some points in this fucking movie.
So we forgot to mention that part. So that's another thing Nelson made him change is his last name was Weisenthal, and he made him change it to Whitney.
Yeah, like just. Because
that's how bigoted this man is.
It wouldn't go over well in like the circles that they go around with. Like that's a very big part because that comes up again in another scene when his life is in the shit. Like the Weisenthal element of it. So like yeah, that part is very important for a lot of reasons. But for me, I like it as like oh good, like this is a very. Obviously, this is a joke. Okay, good. I can look for the funny now. I can look for the funny. Because before I was like scrambling notes, being like, class structure, Jesus, another racist.
This movie never stops. It never stops with like the racism, but the jokes. But it's self-aware. But everyone's playing it so straight. It's like tricky to comprehend. Like,
yes, it's exhausting.
But upon the second watch, I actually found myself enjoying this movie.
Yeah, no, I liked it. We've said it a bunch of times already, but no, second watch, this movie shines on the second watch.
Before we started talking, right, like before we started recording, I honestly still hadn't decided. Like, did I like this movie? Like,
yeah, you were up in the air. Yeah, you were up in the air for a good amount.
It's unusual.
It's extremely unusual, but that's the reason why I think like even though it buried itself, it's a good time capsule. I think because like it's doing all the It's more effective than Hardball talking about some of the things that's trying to tackle. So just that alone, like, sorry, Hardball.
It never pulls its punches.
No, No.
It doesn't stop.
It does not fucking stop. So after the flashback, yeah. So Roger is like going through the letters.
It's like, I can't believe you would go through your mother's letters like this.
I can't believe. And Roger's like, I can't believe you sent them. Like,
yeah,
it's like
you said this. You said the nicest, sweetest things to someone you abandoned, basically.
Yes, yeah. So you're still a piece of shit, dad.
Yeah.
And also, like Walter gets all butthurt every time like Roger calls him dad. Like, motherfucker, that's your son. He has the right to call you dad. I know.
Yeah.
I know he's doing it to antagonize you, but don't buy into the bait, Walter. Like, come on now. You're supposed to be so fucking smart.
So they're kind of reeling with it, and the lawyer's like, he's not your son, like you can't, like let a judge decide if he's your son. He's like, I know he's my son. He's my son. I know he is. I won't deny that. Like, which is another great thing. That's kind of a great thing about this character. He's like,
character moment.
There's never in the movie you could easily have a lot of time where he's like, he's not my son. He is your son. Like get into like a whole like derivative like blood test or something like that, but it doesn't. He's immediately owns up to it. He's like, no, he's my son. I know he's my son.
Very few derivative moments. Like for the amount of like times it could have been derivative moments, like they actively try and just like make it real. Like, yeah, I'm like the timeline adds up. Like, why am I gonna drag? Like, why am I gonna drag this shit out? Like, I think that was the movie's way of saying like, why are we dragging this out? It's the son. Get over it. Come on.
Yeah,
move on.
Next.
Next.
Yeah, so they're slowly getting to know each other, and they're walking on the beach, and Roger's walking in Walter's footsteps on the beach, and he's like, "What are you? Stop doing that!" He's like, "Isn't a young man supposed to follow in his father's footsteps?"
Oh my god.
He's like, "Stop calling me dad." He's like, "Well, what am I supposed to call you?" He's like, "Call me like Cracker or Honky or Whitey."
It's like and Roger's like, "No, none of those things really." Like,
that's not a way a boy should talk to his daddy. Mm-hmm. And he calls him Mr. Charlie.
Mr.
And
Charlie.
throughout the whole movie, he just calls him Mr. Charlie, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so like I looked up like Mr. Charlie because like I've heard the phrasing before, but it wasn't something like I use as a slur for white people growing up. It was always like weirdly, it was like I didn't use honky or like cracker because I didn't really grow up with a bunch of white people, so it wasn't like in my like all my slurs were for like my Hispanic friends, like my Asian friends, everyone else. Also, white slurs are boring, like not fun. Like it's like because you guys are the majority, so you control the narrative on slurs. You're so good. You've had so much time to make slurs. Not you specifically, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You had so much time for this shit. But anyway, for Mr. Charlie used to be just for plantation owners. Like that's what
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what these slaves would call Mr. Charlie. And also it would be turned just like most slurs against uppity black people. So sometimes if someone was acting like above their station, another black person would call someone Mr. Charlie. The female version for ladies was Miss Anne, so you weren't left out either. And it just kind of fell out of favor because it's just such a specific phrasing and time period. And I'm kind of glad it fell out of favor because it like was tagged to like are my slave roots. So it was like it shouldn't be like one of the big things that we call white people anymore. Like that's if anything, Mr. Charlie's kind of like a pretty fucked up slur. The more I think about it, like it's like that's up there. We might have a new slur for white people. Didn't I say the slurs would be the best part of the podcast?
I don't think that's supposed to be the lesson here.
I don't know, man. Carbon copy's layered. It's so layered.
As long as he doesn't know that I find that more offensive than Cracker or Honky. He won't have any power over it.
Kevin forgot the internal monologue.
Oh no, my soliloquy. Oh no.
He's laughing because he knows.
He caught the conscience of the king.
Ripped it right out there.
So this is when Walter's like, all right, you can, he's like, oh, and Roger's like, oh, well, I can live with you now. And it's like, no. But Walter's still a decent enough guy who's like, okay, but we need to figure out how we're going to do this.
We got to play this shit the right way.
Yeah, and Roger's like, why do we have to play it anyway? Like, I am your son. Why is this an issue? And Walter, and well, you can tell it's not really an issue for Walter. He just knows it's an issue for everyone else, and he cares a lot about what everyone else is. So he's like, all right, how do I trick my wife into bringing this kid into our home? I know. I'll say it's like an inner city youth, a troubled youth, and he needs our help, and he'll stay with us for a summer to help be better.
I'll reverse psychology the bitch because like basically he uses like the high society against his wife because they're always competing. The women are always competing against each other for arbitrary bullshit reasons.
It's like if your girlfriends find out that you're helping this troubled youth, they'll want one too, and they even refer to it that way too. They're like, she'll want one.
Yeah. Like like, well, she'll get, and they refer to him as like boy throughout the whole, like, every time like Vivian says him, it's, oh, what a nice lovely boy, and like this and that, yeah, like the boy, and normally it wouldn't be charged because he is 17, so technically not a man yet, but just from how straight racist these characters are played,
and the fact that Denzel Washington looks like he's in his 30s because he pretty much is in almost 30. So it feels even more condescending.
Yes, it's very like her tone, like when they say it, like it's once again, it's all about context, like
but
the tone.
But even when Walter's trying to sell it as like, look at what you'll have, everyone will be jealous. Even she's like,
very.
But why do we need to take them? Like we already do so much for these people.
Like they have. Like, I think I wrote down like all this shit. Like they have welfare, low rent housing, and 4 of their own television series. Like how much more do they want? Like, and that's supposed to be like that's another part where I was like, oh, this is funny. This is a satire because like there's no way like the movie expects me to believe like this is like a real quote unquote conversation. Like this is supposed to be the asshole character right now. And
but also I've heard people say
things like that. That
not
too.
as cartoonish and not as
of course, and that's why the movie's a good satire because it's elements of the truth to it. Yeah. Because I've heard people talk a shit like that. It's like, well, especially when it comes to like when people have a very like charged comments about like welfare and like, you know, like how we help people and shit. It's like, listen, some people will abuse shit, some people won't. In the story, shut the fuck up. Like don't like. I mean, people make generalizations about.
Sure, there are people that are take advantage, but then there are other people who genuinely need some help.
Yeah, man, because that's people. Like some people.
It's the world.
Duh.
But, so he finally, after, you know, finagling, he convinces her, we'll do it. And she's like, okay, we'll do it. But maybe he shouldn't be in the house. We'll keep him in the garage at first. So then, just
because it's like it's easier. It's their justification's like, well, it's easier to have someone leave your garage than your home
in case they decide to kick him out.
Yeah. Which is fair. Let's space for you to fucking move around in.
Oh God. So then they bring him in and they have like this fancy dinner where. She gives like that weird limp handshake to him.
Oh, that bullshit dead fish shit. Yeah. Oh, I've met many a man and woman that have done that. Yeah. It's like my respect points for you. If you do that in public, it's like -5 right there. It's like give me your full goddamn grip.
Unless it's like an awkward. Like,
if it's awkward timing.
If it's like a Trump handshake, then you're like, all right.
Trump handshake.
You've seen the Trump handshake.
I have. Like, I think he does that because like he's just a fucking like he knows it's offensive.
It's probably a power thing.
Oh my god!
Didn't see that coming, did you? I got you now.
Ha! I'm so cool.
Yeah. I'd be like, can we just fist bump, Mr. President?
Yeah.
You strike me as a fist bump might be better. But if you did a fist bump, he'd be like, stick shift and start shaking your fist around. I'm like, oh, Mr. President, stop!
What a bully, you're right. No matter what, you can't win with the motherfucker. Like, why waste your time? Oh my god. But, whatchamacallit. So, yeah, no, he goes into... Like, so wait, do they go to the house for the dinner scene yet? Or
before they get to the house, they buys them all the nicer clothes, like a suit, because he's wearing.
That's right.
I mean, he's wearing what I guess a black teenager in the 70s, 80s would probably be wearing. I mean, it's just jeans and a t-shirt and like a
nice
leather
jacket. Nicest jacket.
He's got the big like shades on.
Yeah, so now he has to get like square clothes, and this is.
Yeah, he even says like, if the brothers see me, they'll think I'm square. Yeah. There are no brothers in San Marino.
Yeah, it's like you're fine. You're absolutely fine, Roger. But then now they're driving. This is another cool scene where like Roger kind of tricks Walter again because they're kind of like Walter's trying to ask information about Roger.
Are you in school, Roger?
And he's like, are you in high school? He's like, no, I don't go anymore.
I don't go anymore. I left a year ago, and so. Obviously, he assumes he dropped out.
And it's like, what
when he was 16.
Like, how can you expect to have a future and like, you know, all this other shit? But like Roger, as like we said, spoiler, he's in like pre-med. Like,
yeah, you find out he graduated at 16. Yeah, and he's actually like pre-med at
smart as hell.
I forget what school, but
John Hopkins, I think, or some. It was some like prestigious like bullshit.
I forget what it is.
I can't remember.
But I'm pretty sure it's the same school that he met Lorraine at. Like they were together, and it's like that's where I went. So it's another like,
nice.
But he doesn't know that yet. He still thinks that his son is a high school dropout.
Mm-hmm. And just like one other thing where the movie is like it's tying in like the race thing with like the class thing because he's talking about like okay what opportunities you're gonna have without like high school. But the thing is Walter's also like just stereotyping like because he's a black kid at the same time.
But Roger is also. I mean, even
Roger's also playing.
But
him.
even if he was white, if a 16-year-old kid says like, "Oh, I left."
What would
You're
assume?
gonna assume he dropped out. Exactly. You're not gonna assume that he graduated a year early and is now like that's a much more of a leap than
huge.
my teenage son dropped out of school because his mother isn't here to tell him to stay in school.
No, yeah. Also, too, all Walter knows is like Lorraine's dead. Who knows when Lorraine died? So he probably would assume the worst of the situation of like, yeah, you're not going to school anymore. Like, yeah, you're not.
And he lived with the Aunt Clara.
Aunt Clara,
whose father's a preacher man.
Yes.
No, husband's a preacher man.
Such a good song. Oh, the son of a preacher man. Yeah. Baby boy.
So they get to the house, and that's when we start to get more, more racism. Like we ever stopped with the racism.
We'll never stop.
This movie doesn't stop.
Yeah, no, it's they're sitting down, and also you get to see more of like the stepdaughter being a piece of shit. Like that's always fun. The stepdaughter's name is Marion, right? Because
I don't remember the stepdaughter.
Yeah, because the mother's name is Vivian. I think the stepdaughter's name is Marion, and she's asking like Roger like these fucked up questions, like, "Hey, ever been arrested?" Oh, even before that, the fucking dinner they're serving.
Oh yeah, for dinner it's just like, oh, we made chicken for dinner, and he goes, oh, I love chicken. She's like, I know you do. And they're eating dinner, and it's
running theme.
They're like, all right, so we're gonna put you in all the nice circles. You'll do class here, and you'll do this and do that. And he's like, okay. And he's like, also you'll be a part of our church. We're Presbyterian. He goes, oh, I was raised Baptist. I'm like, you'll be a Presbyterian. I was like, okay.
All right. Stick very
and the conversation's, it's racist, but it's going the way Walter would probably expect it and wants it to go. It's like, all right, this is working enough. Like I'm getting just the right amount of pushback that I was expecting.
Yes.
But okay. And then it's like, all right, everything's kind of agreed. Like, we're going to make this young man change a bunch of stuff about himself while not knowing that it's my husband's son. It's like, oh, well, Marianne? You're talking
about the stepdaughter?
The stepdaughter?
Marianne.
So, like, Marianne's like, do you have any questions you want to ask Roger? And she goes, you ever been arrested? And right away, Walter's just like, that's an offensive question to be asking someone. He goes, yes, I was, little sister.
I was busted by the pigs.
I was busted by the pigs. That is not how we refer to the police in this household, Roger.
Yeah, and he's like, well, ma'am, I know, but my neighborhood, we call them and as he's saying, like, greaseball or something along those lines, Walter was like, police
officers.
Police. You're fucking this
up. Well, why were you arrested? It's like, well, we were protesting a Klan march?
Yeah, a Klan rally or something going on.
Yeah, something with the Klan, and then a Klan member hit him, and they started beating him, and then that's when he got arrested. So...
Yeah, and saying we shall overcome, and Vivian's like, you don't sing that in this house.
Like, don't sing we shall overcome.
No more protest marches.
He's like, can I hum it? It's like, well, if you want to hum it in the privacy of your own room, if you ever feel the need to sing it, to do that, the urge, do it in your room in private. And you even see Denzel Washington give a look of like, what the hell? Like, even he's like, I wasn't expecting this much racism.
This bitch is crazy.
God.
It's like, I was expecting, like, just like, the fried chicken for dinner racism.
Yeah.
Not that I can't sing a Negro spiritual racism.
Just about us getting along.
Yeah. and like, why? And so why is it... Because eventually, like, the jig is up that Vivian finds out that, like, he's the son.
Because the daughter's like, I'm dating this boy, and his father is running for Senate.
Oh, that's right.
And we're basically going to engage. So if they find out we're doing this, it could affect that career. So let's see if it's okay with him first. And Walter's like, why the hell should their opinion matter at all?
In our house. Like, this is the vote.
Who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit? And that's another really good moment, like the movie talking about class, where it's just like all this dumb, rich, like high society
inner
bullshit.
Circles.
Yeah, it's like we have to make sure we have the right people around, because that could look a bad image. Because we run for office one day, people that are just like planning so ahead of time, like they're royalty, like a whole time, like you just pretend.
They all feel like royalty.
Just see like the privilege just fucking seeps off them, like assholes.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, let's see if she approves. And also my father. It's like, what do you mean your father? It's like, well,
that drunk.
Yeah,
doesn't take care of you.
Which her actual father, and
never
I guess
seen him.
You never see him, and you hear bad things about him. And also, it adds more to Nelson, where it's like that's probably why he wanted Walter to marry his daughter, because he knew that this other guy was a crumb bum. So it's like, I'll bring this guy in.
Crumb bum.
That's the type of word they would have used in this movie. And so it's like, let's bring him. So it's like, oh, Walter would be a better one. So let's arrange that there. Perfect. And that's why he's not really in the picture. So for all we know, Nelson might have pushed him out. And like maybe he is intentionally that could be a whole thing we don't even know about.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
The prequel to
There's a cut scene where you find out Nelson's like, here's $20,000. Stay away from my family forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're white, so I'll talk to you in person. I'll give you the money in person.
So then it's just like, well, why should it matter? It's like, well, what if... It's like, well, she's my daughter. It's like, It's like, well, what if Roger was my son? It's like, oh, Walter.
This-
It's like, no, seriously, Vivian.
Your silly hypotheticals.
Yeah,
Don't
if
do
he
that.
was my son, would he be allowed to stay here? It's like, of course. If he was your son, it's like, all right, then I'll tell you. He's my son. It's like, this isn't very funny.
What now, bitch? What now, bitch? He's my son.
Checkmate.
Bleh, bleh. Yeah, and it's the worst checkmate because it fails miserably.
Yeah, it blows
doesn't-
up in his face.
As it should. Like, you know your wife?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Racism aside, if you're just ambushing your significant other with a surprise kid, like, that's not right.
Surprise, kid!
Like seriously, racism aside, it's like, oh, this is my kid, by the way. It's like, wait, what? Huh? Why were you just pretending they weren't your kid? That they were like a troubled youth that you're just gonna like bring in here?
What point were you trying to prove
Yeah,
to
like,
me?
what?
We're already having issues, Walter. What the fuck are you doing? We haven't had sex in 7 months. You think this is gonna help? You think this is gonna help you getting pussy, Walter?
And then the next scene is just Walter sitting there as the priest and the doctor come in because Marianne and Vivian are just so hysterical, and the doctor is just like, I delivered Vivian. I can't believe this. I've never seen her so torn apart.
This is the worst I've ever seen her. I've been practicing with this family for 40 years, Walter.
I make house calls.
I'm that type of doctor. And he makes a fucking direct threat. You don't get sick in San Marino, boy. Because like, if
I
you
have
do,
connections.
Yeah, like I got.
You're not my doctor
I got
anymore.
doctor friends.
Forget my Hippocratic oath. I don't care.
Eat
You're
a-
something else.
eat a dick.
How dare you ambush with... What does he even... He says something like pretty big too. He's like, how dare you ambush with that child? Or something.
Yeah, no. I have more for the
Like
priest.
the priest...
I have more for the priest dialogue because Walter also says
So
before,
while they're
yes.
while they're fighting, go back before Vivian's hysterical and faint. Like part of the argument of like, he's your son, but he's black. It's like, what does it matter? And it's like, well, I don't know. It's like he won't be accepted. This and that. And it's like for some reason that he says like, what if God is black?
Yeah. It's like don't you dare say
How
that.
dare you say God is black? That's blasphemy.
God is white, Walter. He is white. Like, you say that right now to me. It's like, no, Vivian. Like, he plays devil's advocate, and she's just beside herself.
And then the priest is just like, we do not assume the race of the Lord. And then he's just like, well, I was just pointing out a point. It's like, Jesus is white, so therefore his father would be white.
And
It's like, you just said we don't put a race on the Lord.
And also, Kevin's not even like when he did the white just now. That's the movie. Like the priest is like, God is white. You go out there right now and tell Vivian that God is white.
I don't see the good book around, Walter.
Yeah, like, it's just a piece of and it even shows like
The priest actually made me laugh like really hard.
No, because like another part of the dialogue, Walter's like, fucking no, my son's not black. He's hickory bronze. He's like, I don't, and the priest
like your car.
Yeah, and the priest says, I don't like you comparing that man to my car. Like,
No, I think he says that boy to my car.
that boy.
I think he says
fucking
that.
boy. That boy in my car. You're right.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck these
But
people.
the priest and the doctor, they ham it up a little bit, so it's much
adds-
easier to laugh and see the
yes,
comedy in
yes.
it. But because Vivian and Nelson and a lot of the other like the bigwigs that work in his office and stuff, they play it so straight.
Yeah, no, and also too, it's like I didn't even notice most of the dialogue the first watch around, like the more like subtle, like funny dialogue, because the bigger like racist shit was hitting me so over the head. So even all that funny, like that was all second watch. Like all of that was just having to digest the movie first and then maybe bird to myself again, man. Okay, you've gotten it in. Now we can enjoy it.
So Nelson takes Vivian and Marianne like back to his house, I guess, and it's just like, all right, Walter. Like, here's another heart-to-heart me trying to manipulate you. It's like, you need to think about this. This is a very important moment. You can never acknowledge that he is your son. Like, we'll make arrangements for him. We'll have to deal with him, this and that.
He'll go in the army, and
Yeah.
like, Walter's like, well, what if he survives? And then Nelson's like, didn't even think of him surviving. Well, if that does happen, we'll also
We'll make sure we'll financially like recoup him, whatever. I think they say that later in the movie.
He'll be taken care of.
But he's like, you should make the right decision, and it's like I consider you my son. Like, I'd hate to lose you. Pretty much, again, more threatening without making it seem like he's his friend.
Veiled threats. A veiled threat.
Yeah. So then the next morning when he goes to work, he tells Roger like, stay in the garage. I'll be back. We'll figure this stuff out. And as soon as he gets to work, they close the door on him and like, you can't come in. Like, that's it. You don't work here anymore. Also, we're taking your car. That's the company car. And he's just traumatized. And immediately...
Cutting cards up and shit.
Yeah,
like,
some security guy comes up and he's like, these are all company cards. He takes all his credit cards and just cuts them up. And I immediately just thought of Bobby Driscoll. Poor sweet Bobby Driscoll.
Oh my god.
That kid.
God, R.I.P. Bobby Driscoll. Yeah, just
Right
like,
at the gate. You don't work here anymore. This is how I find out. Okay, worked here for years. Whatever.
Yeah, and this is also, it shows how incompetent Walter is because like his life falls apart so fast because it all depends on Nelson and the
Because Nelson
company.
has so much control over his life.
All of his, because he goes to like he loses his lawyer too. Like
Yeah, he goes to his lawyer. He's like, "What do we do? Like, they took my job, they took my credit cards," and the lawyer's like, "Actually, I'm representing Vivian in the divorce." What? You're my best friend and lawyer. He's like, "Well, I'm still your best friend.
Yeah.
I'm just not your lawyer anymore."
Sorry, buddy, you don't have any fucking money to pay me. So
Then
he has to go to another.
No, before that, he calls Roger and is like, "Hey, I'm going to come home, like, pack up your things. We're going to have to figure something out." It's like, "Oh, yeah, about that, Mr. Charlie. They're putting, your stuff's all on the lawn. Like, they're putting it on the lawn." It's like, "No, actually, they're throwing it." And you just see, like, the maid throwing...
Hucking the shit.
Hucking the stuff on the lawn. It's like, "Well, what about my guitar?" And then you see, like, the guitar get thrown out. It's like, "Yep, they just threw that one out there, too."
And he's like, "I really hope that doesn't get damaged." Like, well, it's a comedy, so motherfucker, you know it's getting damaged. And then he meets up with how does he find like the black lawyer?
That lawyer's like, "Because I'm not representing you here, this is a lawyer I recommend."
That's right.
Go to him, and it's I forget the actor's name, but he's an actor you've seen in a few things. The black lawyer,
his hair looks really. As odd as that sounds, like his hair and facial hair, like that together reminded me of somebody, but I couldn't tell you what he was in.
I know he's in Wrath of Khan.
Okay,
he's one of like the other leaders. He's one of the captains of one of the other ships.
Representation. Yeah, we did it.
He's in stuff. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Woo!
He's one of those actors. And also, the lawyer just finds this whole situation hilarious.
He's like, "Wait, you don't have anything in your name? You have fucking
Yeah, that's when you find out. It's like nothing's his name. He's like, "You don't even have a checking account?" It's like, "No, like the cards were in the company name. Like the bunch of like the trust funds were in Vivian and Mary Ann's name. The car was in the company name." It's like, how much?
Everything.
So he's like, he's like, "Just be blunt with me. How much? What am I worth?" And he gives him like a beer. He's like, "What's in your wallet?" It's like $65. I'm worth $65, and the lawyer's just kind of like, "Haha."
You dumb. Look at your books. Don't trust like your manipulative like father-in-law and your even more manipulative wife to have your financial interests at heart, Walter. Like, come on, man. But it's a good character moment where it's like he's just gullible. He just he didn't have control over his life for most of it, and all it took was one decision to unravel it because you upset the one in charge. Like, that's kind of it. So he like goes through what I was like. He goes through trying to explain like a situation. Is that when he picks up Roger after he's done talking to like the lawyer, or like how does he link up with Roger again? Because I say his entire life falls apart. The black lawyer explains, he's trying to make him black. Also, the black lawyer is like, they're trying to make you black through poverty. Like, they're like
they won't let you fight back as a white man, so they make you live as a black man or something like that.
Yeah, so I think they get like a taxi or bus to like a really shitty hotel.
They take a cab to a crappy hotel, and at the hotel, that like the woman even says like 3 rings if the Vice show up, and then they're referring to the fact that Roger is black, and that's when Walter's like, "He happens to be my son," and he just starts laughing hysterically. It's like, that's one of the funniest ones I've ever heard.
Yeah, like another like, "Ha ha ha, there's no way. You're different colors, vanilla and chocolate."
In everyone's defense, for how black Denzel is, it would be
for how
surprising that he's
white and
mixed.
Jewish Walter looks.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of white Jew in Denzel's face. So, to your point, you're all right.
Yeah, and then that's when he's like, "I'm going to find a job. It'll be really easy. I'll land on my feet. It'll be great." And he goes to his banker.
Idiot.
So he goes to the one friend. The one friend just kind of like, "We can't hire you because Nelson already talked to the big boss here, and they're like, we can't give you a job. Sorry." And he's like, "Well, here's some money." Also, like, "Where is he? Let me see him. Like, where's the kid at? Like, what's he like?
How black is he?
Yeah.
Is he really black? Like just very poignant. Like, fuck
ugh.
you, dude. You're gross. Like, the whole thing is gross. And
he's like, "You know what? I don't need your help. I'll go to one of my other good friends. I'll see you around." He's like, "See me around? Where are you going to see me around, man?" It's like, "You're right."
The camera like zooms in. Like, before he even says that, the camera zooms in. He's like, it's a moment of realization. Like, oh yeah.
I guess I won't.
We're not in the same social circles anymore.
Nope.
You don't like black people.
So he goes to a banker friend's like, "Look, I just need a loan." He's like, "Well, you have no collateral." He's like, "What about my word? You have Roger Whitney's word." He's like, "But your name's not Roger Whitney, is it?" He's like, "Yeah."
And no, he does, and that's the best part. I don't think he even says anything. Like, the camera just like does like a look at him and just like,
yeah.
Damn, like, who the fuck am I? I'm Walter
Weisenthal.
Weisenthal.
And then that's when he tries to hustle the guys for
Yeah,
basketball.
because he needs to make like $5.
Yeah,
Like, his
that's
priorities
fine.
are-
He
are
sees
just so
he sees
stupid.
an overweight like white dad with his overweight young son who's like 17 playing basketball poorly and thinks that he can hustle him in basketball.
Because he's got a black son.
He's got a black son,
My
so,
black
you know.
son. My black son should be better at basketball, but
Yeah.
spoiler, he's not.
Yep, they lose.
Miserably.
Yeah, and Walter's just like, how do I have the one black son who can't play basketball?
Yeah, it's like fuck you. Like that's like why when I was growing up, like I didn't play basketball because like the amount of like people that would make comments when I did try to play basketball just for fun, be like, well, if you're good, it's because you're black. It's like, well, no, I'm just not gonna play because you've taken the joy of getting better. You've taken the joy out of an activity because of just one little comment, and that's the thing about like some comments, they can affect you in the weirdest fucking ways.
Well, Damon, because you're the Avatar, it's not really fair whose team you're on. The other team's at a disadvantage, so it's just more fair if you don't play.
It's like I was that good. I was like, you're only good because you're black, Damon. Huh?
You guys haven't even seen me play.
I'm demoralized. That happened a lot in like high school or like middle school. Anytime I would like do like a good catch in football or like do something athletically, something that was like cool athletic wise, they're like, well, you're much faster because like you're black. It's like no, because you're fat. Like you're just fat. Oh my god, but fucking whatchamacallit? Where are we at? So they lose at basketball.
And then that's when he's like, oh yeah, my car. He's like, you have a car? And he sees the car and it's just this
Hoopty.
beat up, horrible, smoky, just,
I got it for like $20.
It's a comedy, so it's the worst possible car you can imagine. It's if logically speaking, it's not street legal. Because
Yeah,
of course not. At one point, they run out of brakes and have to scream, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!"
It's gone! It's gone!
What did it cost you? It cost me $14 and a record player. Well, you got ripped off, man.
Yeah, so they're going through, and at one point, like, I just wrote, like, as, like, we are not a black, like, he keeps, because Roger keeps saying, like, well, we're a black family, and then Walter's like, we are not a black family. Like, he makes it very adamant, like, he does not want to be associated with, like, what the society that what Walter's high society people think of
Yeah,
black people.
he's been groomed by Nelson for almost 20 years now, so he probably believes all these things, even though, go back 17 years, he obviously didn't feel that way. I mean, he fell in love with a black woman.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why the movie is also confusing sometimes, because it shows like just what we were talking about just now. It shows like how racism really can be from the top down. Like Nelson really did. It was like Walter was never truly racist, but like small little bigoted things throughout the whole
time.
movie. Like it'll infect you, and like you just make up these own stereotypes and assumptions, and you can see kind of Walter fighting against it.
Dude, this movie's almost about him trying to like
overcome,
not grow. It's more of like try to grow past what he's been conditioned to believe for the past 20 years.
Yeah, and that's probably
and try to relearn like who he used to be and like what his attitudes used to be, and realize how ridiculous everything around him actually is.
And that even kind of makes more sense when he talks about Lorraine in the beginning, as I don't even remember like what it was. I just remember laughter, like the joy I
loved
felt.
her. I was happy,
but like it's just been buried for like you said the past like 20.
He was told to forget her. Forget her. You're done. You can't be married to her. It wouldn't be acceptable. Marry my daughter.
Here you go.
There you go.
It's an executive daughter. Like, she's white, so it's perfect. We don't have to worry about the legitimacy of your children and those other bullshit.
You're a man. You've been in love once. You've been in love once, and be in love again. Don't worry about it.
And so, like, Walter's like trying to. Oh yeah, so he's all the means of him getting money are failing. He can't get a job where he's used to. So now he's trying to look for. But he's like, well, I'm gonna try. Like, wait, what's the?
No, this is when he decides to rob.
Rob.
Himself.
Yeah, Rob.
Oh,
No, that's what I was gonna say.
I thought you were gonna
jump past the. Yeah, no, babe, I got you, because like this is when the other rape scene happens.
Let's turn it back. So then he goes to his house to burglarize it. He's like, I know where the safe is in my house.
Yeah, it's like
I'll break in.
There's definitely gonna be money there.
Yeah, I'll break in and then I'll get the money. And while he's doing that, his wife wakes up and it's just kind of like, oh no, take whatever you want.
You're here.
But oh no, don't do anything. I know what you want. You want to have your way with me. Well, I won't stop you.
No matter what, you're too strong. You overpower me. Like, oh my god.
And at this point, she can't see him. Like, there's a flashlight in her face, and he's wearing a ski mask too. So even if it wasn't for the flashlight, she still wouldn't see him. He's like, go ahead, do whatever you want. Like, have your way with me. I won't stop you. And even he's like, what the hell is going on?
But then he goes for it.
But then he goes for it.
Yeah.
And he does it. And then
the scene cut is like him ripping the cover off, and then he's in the office.
You hear like a mad scream of like, Yahoo!
Yeah, it's like. like, rape! Like, we did it, guys. And then the next
It's
scene.
the 80s, so.
Yeah, the next scene, he's
Smart.
like, oh my God.
He's telling the lawyer, like, I can't
so-
believe the best sex I've had of my life is my wife thinking she was raped by a burglar.
Yeah, and then and the movie's like supposed to be like, haha, get it? It's funny, guys. It's super funny.
And the lawyer's just laughing more, just like, what is this man's life? Like it's like he's watching the movie with us. That's how the lawyer is.
Yeah, just like bug-eyed and being like, what did you just say?
What happened next? Walter, it's been 2 days.
This week?
You're already robbing yourself and raping your wife? My lord. Goodness gracious.
Is the weed this good? Am I not hearing you right?
No, this isn't that lawyer.
Oh, dude, that's right. It's the black lawyer.
This is the black lawyer who casually
He's been abandoned
drinks
by the
he drank a beer in his office with Walter, though.
Hell yeah. This man's life's falling apart. He's not going to judge you over a beer at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the
He
morning.
gave one to Walter, too, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, we're sharing it.
They're sharing a beer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Professionally speaking.
Hell yeah. But oh yeah, so he is describing the rape to like not even his best friend, just like his new lawyer.
Hey, his lawyer can't say anything.
Who else is gonna talk about it too? Oh shit, you're so right.
Just tells his wife that night. It's just like, what?
It's like,
What?
What? Honey, you won't believe the white people I talk to are crazy, babe.
We have to get that young boy out of there. It doesn't sound safe for him. No, it's okay. He's actually kind of sort of. It's fine. I'll tell you at the end of the movie. Honey, what are you talking about?
I was like, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, so this is like, and the lawyer's telling him, like, just go on welfare. Like, you can, like, it's
Easily,
okay.
yeah.
You need the money. You need help. And he's like, I won't do it. They're trying to break me.
I
I won't let
refuse.
them break me.
I refuse.
And he's denying money and handouts. So that's when he decides to just go on the corner and work for
manual labor,
manual labor. It's
jobs.
like, just a bunch of group of people where it's mostly a group of minority young men.
Yeah.
And then you can see like 2 alcoholic like white guys.
Yeah, like
really-
hobos.
Yeah, like just hobos, and they're sitting for work, and people drive around. It's like, all right, who knows how to do this? And they all jump on. Another car comes around, and it's funny because you see Walter get rejected twice.
Yeah.
And even the lawyer's like, do you know what you're doing? He's like, they ain't gonna break me. I'll do this job, while he's in like a suit, and then he gets called to clean stables, and the guy calls him dummy. And,
Come on, dummy.
It's him and the drunk. He's like, come on, dummy. And the drunk's just like, I think he's talking to you. And he sure is.
Yeah.
Get in here, dummy.
Yeah, and then he mucks like 30. I've never cleaned a stable. It seems fucking
Yeah, you
miserable.
see him actually kind of just. It's like, yep, clean up that stable and then dump it out and clean the stable.
Yeah,
Hurry up, dummy.
Yeah, the movie does spend like 5 minutes of him showing
Yeah,
like
you see
watching
him getting
toil.
beaten down. He's in a suit, just dirty and disgusting. While at the same time, Roger's supposed to be looking for a new apartment for them, and he does. And when he gets back, he's just beaten. Roger picks him up, and
like he sees the apartment, it's like a piece of shit.
it's
And he's like, "Are you
disgusting. And even on the side, because he's in like I'm not sure what neighborhood he's in, but if you don't know if you notice it, it's painted on the side. It's
death to the ruling class.
death to the ruling class. Yeah,
Death to the ruling class, and that's why I think the movie really is just like has to do with class more than anything else.
Yeah,
like
more than race.
the race is just like tacked on because realistically, like the movie is portraying like what the asshole characters view like black people as like poor, lesser than. So they're tied into the poor, the poverty, but it really is just like rich versus poor, rich versus poor. The movie's hitting you over the head because Roger keeps even saying they're trying to break me, they're trying to show me like I need this lifestyle again, and he's not even wrong because at the apartment, like Nelson and Vivian show up
They find him.
and pretty much say just that. Like,
and they even look like they're standing out, like they're both dressed so like elegantly,
To the fucking
and they're in
nines.
this dirty, disgusting apartment while Walter's dirty and covered in probably
Shit.
horse manure.
Yeah.
And he's playing his little. It's not a guitar. It's like a steel banjo or something.
I think something like that.
I forget what it is, but he's sitting there playing it, and it's exactly what it is. He's literally playing his blues away, and they're like, "All right, Walter, we thought we'd break you, but we only sort of broke you. We'll let you back into the circle." And this is when he tells him, he's like, "Roger, we'll send him to the military. We'll deal with him, and then he'll be suited for. We won't just abandon him. He'll be fine.
It'll
And
be
it's
set
like,
for life.
And he even says he's like at one point he's like, well, you were right about like because at one point he says the wind blows white, not black, and he's like, you were right,
Yes.
Nelson. The wind does blow white, not black.
And that's but Walter's like that's not right though. Like I want to be part of like he really is just like pushing back against what Nelson and Vivian like want. They want what's best for him, and it's like they want him to be their little bitch boy again, and he's tired of being a little bitch boy.
And he's like, all right, well, I want you to think about it. You can come back in the circle as long as we kind of get rid of Roger. I'm going to go now because Vivian, your wife, has some words, and I've allowed her to say some words. And she's just like, like, Walter, like, I want to make it work. I love you. This and that. And it's like, oh, yeah, love me enough to sleep with a burglar? She's like, oh, Walter, I knew it was you. Which maybe she did, but as far as the audience is concerned, we didn't know.
Didn't, yeah.
So we watched him pretty much rape
some.
you.
Yeah, it's like Revenge of the Nerds all over again, where it's like that's another like
because she liked it, it's fine.
Yeah, like it's a weird
know.
weird sexist trope that just like that kind of like makes the movie. It dates a lot of things date the movie.
That's probably the most dated thing in this movie.
The dynamic between like sex, like how they view like relationships between like husband and wife, and like what I think I wrote it was like the entitlement aspect of sex, like that's like very very prevalent in it. It's like, but 80s.
Yeah, it gives off vibes of like, you can't rape your wife. She's your wife. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's still a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Come on. But also 1980s, so like of course like so many things they're tackling so many things, but of course it's gonna be dated.
And they're all about titles and rules. So as far as they're concerned, they probably do think that. Where it's like, yes, I'm so entitled that her title is this, your title is that, which means you are entitled to things.
Yeah, like she's your Nelson probably does view like Vivian as property. So why like also
he married her off to the right guy when she was with another guy, and I'm honestly, I mean, I doubt it, but I like to think that there was probably a scene
handoff
where it's like, you need to go. You need to go.
Get the hell away from me and my family, my legacy.
Yeah, my granddaughter's my granddaughter, and I'm not going to let I'm going to find a better father for her.
Yeah. I would. And
it's also probably adds on to why Marianne resents Walter. It's like, you're not my real dad, and for all we know, like, Nelson made him leave.
Yeah, and
so, like, we don't know why they got divorced. You just hear him say, "Oh, he's a drunk."
Marianne like whispers to Walter, like, "Nelson might make you leave."
Like, what happened to first husband? You wonder.
Papa.
And then, so this is when a pretty good scene. It's Roger just runs into the apartment after Vivian and Nelson leave, and it's like, the pigs are after me. He's like, what do you mean the pigs are after me? He's like, well, what happened? What did you do? He's like, well, two guys broke into a storefront, stole a bunch of stuff, and then ran, and I was walking, and the police saw me, and so I started running. He's like, well, why'd you start running if you didn't do anything? He's like, I think he says a slur here.
I wrote this down because like it was another part of the movie where it's like, if the movie focuses on class, but when the racial elements do come up, it is like Denzel sells this line really well because Walter's whole point, and it's kind of like the I think what people get confused about, some black, or not even black, some communities' reaction to police presence. Like, some police are good and fine and dandy, but some police, they can be seen as a marauding force that come to a neighborhood and to take people away. So Walter, in this scene, the police start running after, the police are running after Roger. Walter's like, well, why would you run? You're innocent. And then Roger says, when the police says, freeze your ass, nigga, like, they made up their mind about what happened. Like, it's not about innocence or proven guilty. Like, that's gone. Like, I had to run, otherwise I was going to get shot or arrested for something I did not do and had the time to prove my innocence. And, like, that was such a good scene, just for that one little aspect of like, yes, like, this really does hit the nail right on the head. Like, people have different reactions to the police because the police can suck sometimes. Like, that was just an interaction with like really shitty cops that just saw a black kid by a broken window and assumed, and he had to run away because he's in fear of his fucking life. And this is also a good character moment because Walter does a dad thing.
Yeah, he hides them. He's like, I'm gonna hide you. We're gonna figure this out what it is, and he puts them in like because their house is so poor, the one closet is like a bed that comes down, so he puts them in the bed and like throws it up and closes it, and then that's when the cops come in and Walter distracts him. He's like, shove off, pigs, and runs away. And then we cut away to Walter's in jail and Roger's visiting him in jail, and it's just kind of like, wow, thank you. Like, I can't believe you did that for me. You got arrested for me.
Walter, it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
Now you're in jail for your black son.
I think it has been 3. It's like been 3 or 4 days.
It hasn't been a long time. This man's life is just in fucking shambles, dude. Oh my god. But no, this is another like good scene.
This is a scene that easily could have been in a drama movie when Denzel's pouring his heart. Like, this is the scene where you're like,
Denzel's talent bleeds in this scene.
Yeah,
it's so
this
good.
One scene, Denzel Washington's first movie before he did anything else, this comedy, you see like, oh, this kid will grow up to become Denzel Washington. And you see it in this scene. He sells the hell out of it.
Just like, even the mannerisms, like, they all show like the blueprint was already there. Like, I saw other good scenes from this scene. Like, just other iconic Denzel speeches. Like, it's one of them.
This is when you kind of just see Denzel where he kind of just lets it all out there. He's like, I never want anything from you. I never wanted money. I didn't want this. I just wanted to know who my dad was. Like, a part of me hated you so much for leaving us and for saying all those sweet things and not being there that, like, I honestly wanted to hate you. Like, I was hoping you would get mad at me and swing at me for the way I was acting, and then I would have an excuse to hit you. It's like, can you imagine a son wanting to hit his own father? How horrible is that? And he's selling the hell out of it, and George Siegel's just sitting there just like reacting to it and doing a good job of being like, this was the one chance, this was the only time I felt like I was actually a good father to you, and I'm in jail for you. And it's like, Roger's like, I appreciate it. Like, you sacrificed so much. Like, I didn't mean for your life to happen this way. I thought I could just meet my dad, but I was so angry at you for what you did to my mom. And that's what's the worst part is, like, how could you do that to her? She would have given you a good life.
She loved you to the end. Like, and then that was the part that, like, the scene is like the whole movie just like was kind of like not treating it as a butt of the joke, but like how serious the scene was. It was very jarring for the movie because the movie's almost over at this point.
Yeah,
like,
there's only like 10 minutes left.
Yeah, 10 minutes left. So it's just like you're getting hit over the head. Like, there's very poignant points that are being made about like how, you know, this woman died loving this man, like thought she was gonna come. Roger's like, she thought you were gonna come back to her. Like, it's all this like, it's so heavy for a comedy, but it's all still so relevant and nice and beautiful, and like it's Roger coming to terms with like how he was in the wrong for the situation as well,
the things he was expecting, the things he wanted from this relationship.
Yeah, like it's just good, and and that's why upon first watch, once we've been saying this whole time, it was just hard to figure out what the movie was because you have these moments of like, God damn, like movie, like am I supposed to laugh at this? Like, I don't think this is a laughable moment. Like, I'm getting goosebumps from Denzel's speech right now. I just watched some slapstick bullshit happening where you're cleaning up shit in a horse stall maybe 6-7 minutes ago.
Followed by deadpan satirical racism. Followed by like weird rape jokes. It's just
the movie never stops. It just hits you over and over and over again, and just the tone can be. I think when I watched the movie the first time, I texted Kevin, and I was like, "This." I was talking to like my brother-in-law, and I was like, "This is a violent." The tone of this movie is very violent. He's like, "What do you mean violent tone?" I'm like, "Just the movie is like." It's just constantly just all over the place. Like, you feel just, you're being rocked, like, left and right. Like, God damn. And so it's just, but for it to cap on this scene, like, I'm kind of glad it did, because it got to show Denzel's range, got to show a good character moment between, like, the father and son actually connecting. Because I think it was the last, like, thing stopping them was, like, truly talking about how Lorraine felt about him. So.
And then also because we find out that, we find out a little later that this whole time, like, he wasn't a dropout of high school. Actually, he graduated early. He's pre-med. He's really great. So, like, this is also the moment where Walter doesn't know this yet, but, like, you can tell it's like, hey, when I was acting the way I was earlier, being kind of rude to you, like, I was putting on an act, which just shows you how good of an actor Denzel Washington is. Because in the beginning of this movie, he's playing a character playing another character. It's a pretty layered performance for a comedy in a first movie for a young actor.
Yeah. When he could have played it so many different ways, and because
he could have been more cartoonishly racist, and he's not really. I mean, he's a little stereotypical, but to a point where it's not.
It's a believable
and it's not
amount.
like I mean, did you find it offensive at all?
No, the only things like I would think that nothing Denzel did that was like I said, like the most offensive quote unquote thing was like the beginning speech when he comes in, he's talking about ratty tatty and those other like that. That's kind of slang for the time. Like, he's 17, so. Like, he would do that. And then he's also trying to act the way he's trying to act to fool Walter and thinking he's just like, some regular down his luck black youth. He would put on that performance. So, like, nothing really stuck out to me. The class shit stuck out more to me. And the cartoonish racism stuck out to me. Like, that was Denzel's performance was like top fucking notch. Like, I did not think he was chucking and jiving too fucking much.
Yeah, so Roger's basically like, I'm gonna go back to wherever it is, whatever my college is. I don't think, but again, he doesn't know that. He's like, I'm going to go back to my hometown. Yeah. I'm sorry, I uprooted your life.
With Aunt Clara.
I'm going
to live with Aunt Clara.
I'm going to go back with Aunt Clara. I'm going to leave. And then he leaves. And then Walter gets out of jail. And he goes back to his office, like, nothing's changed. He's like, nothing's changed. It's like, nothing happened. And Nelson's like, well, what do you mean? Let's just say none of this did ever happen. Everything will be fine. Like, and that's when he's like, oh, like, the winners and losers, and you're a winner. It's like, well, if there's a winner, then that means there has to be losers. It's like, why can't we all win, Nelson? Nelson's like, a world without losers? That doesn't sound very fun. It's like, even when we die, like, even death has winners and losers. There's heaven and hell. And then Walter's just like, what do you mean? He's like, it's like, well, I forget what he says about Roger. He's basically like he's black and he's this, so like why basically like why bother along those lines? And Walter's just like, what do you? He's like life already gave him 2 strikes and you won't even let him swing for a 3rd pitch. Like you've already written him off. Like that's not you're so wrong.
Very good line. He's like, I think this is also the point where like Walter like kind of calls him out. It's like your logic. It's like you I forget the like the purpose.
What he says is because more and more Nelson just is like logicking. He's kind of just talking in a way that sounds like he knows what he means, and it sounds intelligent, but it's really just extremely bigoted and backwards and manipulative.
Yeah.
And that's when he finally Walter says to him, he's like, "You have just enough logic to give your sickness a respectability."
Yes, that was the line. Just powerful line. You give. Say it one more time.
Life? No, that wrong one. That is life's like a box of chocolates.
And cut. Nelson, you're a bigot. You're a bigot. You're a bigot.
It's you have just enough logic to give your sickness respectability.
You have just enough logic to give your sickness
And that's
respectability.
when Nelson's just like, how dare you?
Such a good line.
Well, it's just like, you know what? I don't like how you're talking about him. And it's like, oh, and how you're talking about black people because my son happens to be black, and I don't like this. You know what, Nelson? Like, I'm gonna go. He's like, don't you walk out that door, Walter. If you walk out of this door, it'll be the last thing you ever do. You'll never have a job in here again. He's just kind of like, he doesn't say anything. He just walks out.
Yeah, like the flex really is like he just doesn't say anything, and that makes Nelson furious. That's the only time we've seen Nelson lose his cool this whole movie.
He's finally lost control over someone in his life.
Yeah, for the first time.
You see him vulnerable. That's every time he's giving like his little speeches, it's very calm and eloquent, and just this is just how we have to do. It's like he's prepared for every sort of thing you're gonna say back, and he has a weird twisted logic to just bring it back around.
To every shitty decision, to every shitty comment, but this is the one time that no matter, he can't finagle his way, no matter how racist he is, he can't convince Walter to stay.
He can't manipulate and logic him anime
Yeah.
like he used to. And it's a shame, like, if he, like, what his life would have been like if you never let him do it to begin with.
Yeah, like he would have been with Lorraine and, would have had, like, a black
probably
son.
A great, happy life.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Prosperous. I mean, he was clearly a smart businessman. I'm sure, like,
he would have found something else.
Even if he would have fired him, he's the junior executive that came up with that great idea. So someone else is going to want him.
And that's the reason why Nelson even wanted to take him back in the first place. They're trying to break him, but they're even saying, like, the company misses you. Like, come on. Like,
he knows he's valued.
He does something. That's why Nelson wants so much control over him, because he gives you something. In the business world, if you're not getting anything out of a motherfucker, it doesn't matter, like, if you want control. Like, it's pointless. So, to your point, like, if he just stayed with Lorraine, then they would have a beautiful life. They would have figured something out, and it's just...
Roger's life probably would have been even better. Because then now you find out where... So Walter's like, all right, I want to say goodbye to my son before he leaves.
Oh, because he's driving with, like, the black
lawyer. And that's when the lawyer tells him, like, oh, he didn't drop out. He graduated early. He graduated 2 years early.
Yes, that's how
he's taking classes in Northwestern. That's the college.
Oh,
he's Northwestern. He's like, he's pre-med, and he's like, I had no idea. And he's just like, wow, you know what? You were right. When he came in, I saw a black man. I didn't see a college student. I didn't see this. Like, I don't know what I was doing. And the lawyer's just kind of like, well, there he is. Say goodbye. And he's saying goodbye to him. And he calls him Mr. Charlie one last time. He's like, it doesn't sound very formal. Why don't you call me something else? He's like, all right, Dad. And I was like,
I've been waiting this whole movie.
Oh, he's like, yeah, maybe I can come and visit you at school. Like, we'll go out and get something to eat. It's like, I don't know what our relationship will be, but we can have a relationship. We'll figure it out. And Roger's just like, that would be great. That would be nice. And then as he's walking away, he even says to him, like, I'm a pretty good mechanic. I have a friend out there, because that's where I went to school, is out there. He offered me a job years ago. Maybe I'll take him up on it. Because, again, I have nothing now, because I walked away from him again. So he goes up to the lawyer, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to take my things. Can you please send all my other things and send it to his Aunt Clara's house? And the lawyer's just like, all right.
My man.
The lawyer is so happy that he's just like, you chose your son over high society.
He cannot wait to go home and tell all of his friends and family. It's like, honey, you won't believe. He chose us. He chose us.
He tells his wife, like, so what happened? The last thing you told me, sweetie, was that he raped his wife. Yeah, so after he raped his wife, he went to jail for his black son and chose his black son over being rich. What a turnaround. Seems like a lot of character growth. It sure does, baby. Now get over here.
Our sex is consensual.
We have a healthy marriage. And then there's another sweet moment. He gets in the car with him, and then he's like, oh, Mom would want you to have this. And he gives him a picture of him and Lorraine together. And it's a really sweet moment, like, even for the audience, because even for the audience, we've never seen Lorraine, but she's had a presence over the whole movie. She gets brought up all the time,
constantly.
And even you were kind of just like, what's her deal? And when you see it, there is this cathartic moment. Am I using that right?
Yeah, no, there's catharsis.
There's a cathartic moment where it's just kind of like, wow, like there she is, so sweet, and you can even feel like Walter's like, there she is.
That's what I thought. I was searching for this memory. The way the actor, he has a pretty good job for most of the movie, but this is a great scene with him because it's like you said, the realization like hits, and he's like, this is what this woman was to me, like, oh, wow. But then 3 seconds after this really point. 80s movie, 70s movie. Can't have too much serious, poignant shit without aggressive saxophone.
We're gonna make it in big town.
Trumpets.
It's gonna be great.
Woo!
Yeah.
We're moving on up. I'm walking on air.
Gonna get closer.
Yeah. And so like they look
my
and like
black son.
Yeah, and
my black son.
Roger's looking at Walter.
The best that he can.
Walter's
also,
Roger.
he is pre-med.
Yeah. And that's what the movie pretty much ends. Like they're just going off the sunset to Aunt Clara's, and it was upon second watch, I like this movie.
Me too.
I like it.
And now we actually talked through it. Now I'm thinking about it more. It's like, yeah, this was a good movie.
This was a good movie because like this, they could have fucked up so bad on any of these.
Honestly,
things.
I bet other people would disagree, and I'd be curious to hear that. Like, if you don't think they handled things well, let us know. Like, what bothered you, or what did you think was like that they hit the nail right on the head with that little thing that they did?
Oh, and
there's so many nuances of just racism and just stereotypes and class,
and just like they're talking about the 1% versus like like the rest of the population. Talking about like and then go into like just small little details about welfare and like especially like in the time the movie was made, like in the the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's when you saw like a big increase in the amount of people that were eligible for like the government helping them in some way, shape, or form. Like Medicaid got bigger, like a lot of those programs got bigger, and people had a lot of opinions about it. Let's just say that people were like, "Oh, great!" Some people were like, like we're giving shit to people for free.
Yeah.
Like you need to help some people. Like fuck, I'm sorry. Like if shit wasn't so. If shit was so equal, we wouldn't need it. But lo and behold, like some people need help. Like low-income housing, that's important. Like some people can like use the welfare, and get a better life. Like I've known people that have actively been on welfare because they don't want to be on welfare and because they're in between some shit. And guess what? Now they own a house because they actively got the help they needed to at that time. They're not fucking homeless. So,
I guess I don't have a fan theory for this, but I guess my hope or something like a side thing of this movie is, or thing that would be cool is, I think it'd be cool to see like a sequel to this. Because George Segal, he's still alive, he's still acting, he's an older man, and Denzel Washington is Denzel Washington. I don't need to explain who Denzel Washington is. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I think it'd be cool if maybe you had a movie about them just like having dinner together. Just something, or maybe Denzel has a kid now, and maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's a layer to that. I don't know what it would be.
His mother's Chinese!
Oh, God.
I have a Blasian son, Dad. What do I do? Like, I don't fucking know, man. All I know is how to deal with a half black, half white son.
He's black, Asian, and Jewish? Oh, boy. Here we go again.
Muscles!
No. Oh, jeez, man.
It just gets like, they make some things better, but they make some things worse in the sequel.
So you know how we said that this movie handled the race stuff very well? I think our sequel's not handling the race stuff very well at all. The sequel's not. Hopefully we don't get greenlit. This doesn't sound very good.
That's why there's never been a
very offensive.
That's why there's never been a sequel, because they try to make a sequel. They're like, we've just made the most racist movie.
Denzel's manager's like, Denzel, we have another script for you. He's like, how many times are you guys going to send me a different rewrite of Carbon Copy 2? I won't do it. Okay? I'm making Macbeth with the Coen brothers next. I am not doing Carbon Copy 2.
I'm not doing Yellowface, guys. No matter how you package it, I'm not doing it.
But George says he needs the money. No, he doesn't, all right? He's on the Goldbergs. He's doing fine. I know he's doing fine.
It's gonna get canceled eventually. We all know it is. But until then, I'm not doing it.
It's been on for a while. People do like it. I don't watch it.
I don't know.
It's a popular show.
I'm talking shit on a show I've never watched. But anything else that you thought about them? Like final thoughts? I liked it a lot.
Not really. I think that was about it. So, let us know what you thought of Carbon Copy. Also, if you want to give it a watch, it is on YouTube.
And like, share, and subscribe, like all this shit.
Let us know what you think.
Please
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or hit us up at ablackandwhitereview@gmail.com.
Yeah, and like our Instagram is a black and white review. Our Twitter is a ablackandwhiterev2. So ablackandwhiterev2, and our Snapchat's the same. So thank you for listening. And this has been Black and White Review.
Woo!
Deuces.